Love is an industry. Love is a poem. Love is an ocean. Love is
eat a lot of chocolate.
A person can become great provided that they've read the complete works of Oscar Wilde. Then after doing that,
just a good woman, you know, somebody you're going to connect with, somebody you feel that you can create an entire life with.
Prepare for death.
I like to think that God created us because I don't know why God created us. I don't know.
Somebody invented football. It's probably like one guy that invented football. Look how great that is. That changed the world.
Whenever I go to the ocean and I see the water and it doesn't end, I realize it makes me feel the whole world is actually connected.
Hell, wow. Not a place I want to be.
Heaven, a nice, hot, beautiful beach. Enjoyment, we want satisfaction.
I'm afraid of spiders.
Deep, dark waters.
A killer or monster is living underneath my bed.
I'm afraid of being murdered, I'm afraid of being burgled, I'm afraid of being shouted at.
You can't get everything you want.
I prayed for children, and thank God I have two beautiful little girls.
This life's amazing.
Why were rabbinical laws established? I don't know the straight answer to it. It's just more or less an interpretation of the pre-existing laws of the Torah, or sometimes they put fences around things to protect laws. I think that sounds about right.
Guidelines from a time when even basic daily living was unknown to a lot of people.
I think it was a product of societal evolution and the need to preserve religion.
Rabbinical laws were established in order that there should be a fence around doing certain things that are not allowed.
I think the rabbis added some laws that the simple people will just understand the Bible better.
Like a lot of laws given in the Old Testament are too open-ended. You know, for example, honor thy father and mother. Well, what does it mean to honor thy father and mother? The rabbis, you know, have to come forth to clarify certain things.
Rabbinical laws were established basically thanks to our wonderful friends, the Romans, I think, who drove us out of our land and destroyed our temple. So rabbinical laws were necessary because there was no longer a priesthood, there was no longer the Kohanim to interpret them for us. So an entirely new establishment had to be created.
When you interpret the Bible face value, you can make there can be a lot of wrongdoings religiously. There could be a lot of misunderstandings of the Bible's laws. And I think that the rabbinical courts and the rabbinical, the rabbis were a little more knowledgeable as far as that goes, a little more spiritual as far as that goes. So they were able to interpret it to us in a more simplistic form and more basic for these generations.
The rabbis in the Talmud did never establish new laws. They gave us guidelines. They made a siyag, a fence around our things. Like today we have to make a bracha. That's what the rabbis ordained. We have to say a blessing before we eat any fruit. We have to say a blessing before we put on tefillin, and we have to say a blessing for this and a blessing for that. There's a heck of a lot of blessings, yeah? So you say, why did they put that on us? You got to understand that they found this as a necessity. At one time, when the Jewish people came out of Egypt, you got to realize this, when they saw God and they ate the manna and God was with them at all times, it was just natural that they said a blessing in their hearts. They appreciated everything as a gift from God. It was natural that they just felt this relationship to God. The rabbis saw that we're falling apart, so they told us, look, say a blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem, put yourself in front of the Almighty, thank Him, and maybe you'll feel it. God doesn't need our blessing, we need it. Rabbis only told us how to remember to thank God and to feel the gratitude, which is a pleasure, to feel like God loves you and He gives you a gift. Do you like gifts? I love gifts. Everybody loves gifts. Everything here is a gift. If you feel it as a gift, you're uplifted. You feel the love of God and you love God back, and it's a wonderful life. You just eat and eat and eat and eat. You get bored eating. You don't feel no gifts around. You say, where's God? Yeah. So they are helping us with their ordinances, which they did to keep us aware of the essentials that the Almighty taught us. If the Almighty came on Sinai and He gave us the mitzvahs, the commandments, for our good, you don't need any more, and you can't do with any less. The rabbis never took away any of the mitzvahs. All they ever did was reinforce the commandments that we have by giving us ordinances to remind us of how, what we want to do and live with. We have to wash hands before we eat. That's not from the Almighty. That's not from Torah. But they remind us, wash your hands. You have human blood. I mean, human blood on your hands? Yeah. Did you insult someone? Did you take someone's money? Wash your hands before you imbibe, before you take sustenance from the Almighty. Be properly oriented towards His will before you take from Him the gifts that He gave to you. So all of the ordinances are for that purpose. The rabbis only came to reinforce the 613 commandments and reinforce our pleasures in life and reinforce our ability to live, to think. Nowadays, you have to remind children, you have to remind adults that when you make a bracha, you're not paying God. You're reminding yourself how much He loves you. You have to remind them, otherwise they think, I paid up. we lose track of it. You got to find, if I was a chief rabbi or if the Jewish people would follow my ordinances, I tell them, look, every time you make a bracha, you got to remember to say before the bracha, a new ordinance. I am thanking God not for His sake, but to feel His love and the gift that He gave me. Pass a new law. Then we say, well, another law. Yeah, but it's not working. We got to have it.
Well, I think genetically speaking, we've got some kind of extreme genes going on. I don't think it's inbreeding or anything, maybe a little bit, but it's not easy. We're quite flamboyant characters, I think.
I don't think it's so hard to be a Jew. I kind of like it. Yeah, I think it's real hard to be a Jew.
Very, 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 very hard. It's a big responsibility.
I'd like to say no, but I guess I will have to say yes, mostly because of all the hatred and persecution that we've experienced in this world. Yes, it's hard to be a Jew.
I find it very hard to be a Jew because there's a lot of laws and they put a lot of stress on your life sometimes.
No, I don't think so. Actually, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
I think it's hard to be anything you really want to be.
Yes, it is very difficult to be a Jew.
It's just a path, you know, it's a path for a human being to be a moral and just person. You know, like sometimes we don't have the discipline to just know it on our own.
It's not hard to be a Jew. It's a pleasure to be a Jew.
Even religious Jews fall into this mistake, you understand, of saying that it's hard to be a Jew. It's hard to be a Jew. And when the kids hear that, they say, what the heck do I want it from? Religious Jews, observant Jews. Instead of saying, what a pleasure it is to be a Jew, it's hard to be a Jew because you got to close your store on Shabbos and people persecute. It's hard to be a Jew. Come on, this is a misconception. You're a Jew for your pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a Jew. But it's something that people fall into. And even people fall into the fact that even in the generation of the desert, when they were surrounded with the clouds of glory, they were eating manna. They had the water from a stone for 40 years. And even those people, when they were thwarted, when they were frightened by the spies saying that giants are in the land and we'll never be able to do it. And they said, God hated us. That's why he took us out of Egypt. God hated us. God hated us. What a mistake. So today also, even religious Jews say God isn't fair. He makes it so hard. He gives the money to the Arabs. Why didn't we have oil here in Israel, you know? The Almighty knows what he's doing. He loves us. And he knows what he's doing. And he's trying to preserve us as a nation. And we are not taking that as our first primary urgent live or die goal. Let's hold on to the Jewish people. Let's show them the pride of being Jewish and the pleasure and the power of our heritage to transform the world. World peace is only if we use the Jewish motto of men of goodwill who will reason together, will come to a common conclusion of peace. But it's only if we will reason together and educate each other and listen both ways, that's the only way we're going to have peace.
It's not all and it's not nothing.
Judaism is not all or nothing. There's grey. There definitely is grey.
Judaism is all or nothing. There's no middle ground in Judaism.
I don't think anything's all or nothing, not even Judaism. You do what you can do.
I think most things in life are perceived as all or nothing, but I think that it's what you make it.
God appreciates every little bit.
Nothing is all or nothing.
I may not follow everything, but I take responsibility for the fact that maybe what I'm doing is wrong, but I know that God understands that life is hard, and for some people, some things are harder than others. So it's not an all or nothing.
One of the mistakes people make about Judaism, they think that in Judaism we say is all or nothing. The other religions say that if you do one thing wrong, that's it, you're condemned to hell for all eternity. That's not Judaism. In Judaism we say everybody falls. Sheva yipol tzadik v'kam. The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets up. The evil one falls but once. He stays down. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has got his weak points. The job is to perfect yourself. So we say, our Father in heaven. If you have a child who did something very naughty, he spilled out the milk, and then he comes and he says, I'm sorry. You say, I'll knock the dam. And you say, no. You say, I'll clean it up. You give him a kiss. Yeah, I won't do it anymore. You give him a hug. He says, come on. I love you, kids. Just come home. Do it right. Yeah. So it's not all or nothing. Do whatever you can to the best you can, and you get a reward for it. You do something wrong, there's no getting away with it unless you say, I'm sorry. But the good is much more than the punishment. Much more. Without end more. He's our Father. He wants us to make it. He'll do anything to encourage us and to get us over the humps. Yeah.
I don't think that you can necessarily judge a system by all the people who profess to practice it. I mean, there's a lot of people who proclaim to be a lot of different things, but they're just complete frauds.
They may dress nicely and look religious, but they're obviously not religious if they're not acting well.
Well, it's great concepts filtered through the various emotional problems of the particular people you're talking about.
A lot of people act unethically, and those that do, well, they have to reevaluate themselves.
That's their problem. If I can help them, I would.
You know, somebody asks, how come religious Jews eat pork? You say, come on. It's a contradiction. You know, a Jew doesn't eat pork if he's religious. Isn't that obvious? So now, please, it's a contradiction. A Jew does not act cruelly to another Jew, to another human being, unless he doesn't believe in Judaism. So you say, but there are Jews who pray, and Jews who put on phylacteries, and Jews who keep the Shabbat, and who steal. Yeah, there's schizophrenics in this world. I mean, you know, people kid themselves, or they rationalize it's not really stealing, it's in business, and dog eat dog. I mean, there's all kind of rationalizations, yeah? Every type of rationalization.
I also think that there's a lot of religion that's practiced by rote as opposed to people making the choice to be religious. And when that happens, people lose some of their religious essence. So you may see people who are dressed religious, but they're not internally religious. So you can't necessarily generalize when you see someone dressed as a religious person that they are religious.
Bad people are bad people, and hypocrites are hypocrites, and that's just the way it is in all sections of society, in all sections of people, and all types of people. And it doesn't really make a difference, essentially. You know.
It's well known in the world of charity, in the Jewish welfare funds, and etc., that when you come to doctors, you're not going to get any money. You know why? Because doctors say, I'm spending my whole life helping humanity. You know, people are sick and I make them well, and I get up in the middle of the night to make them well. I have to give charity? I'm a good man, yeah? Unfortunately, this syndrome is also with Orthodox Jews. Some of them feel, look, I get up in the morning, I pray to God, I keep Shabbat, I am eating kosher, I'm making all kinds of sacrifices for the good of mankind and for the good of the Almighty. He's doing God a favor, you know. We kid ourselves into that, you know. And I have to give charity. I have to act like everybody else. Let them keep the Shabbos, and then we'll talk. It's ridiculous. If you got a God, you listen to him for everything he says. He says, be kind to another human being, love your fellow man, protect him, stand up for him, do justice. It's all the same thing as don't eat pig and keep the Shabbat. So if you're truly religious and you got your wits about you, you don't do anything wrong.
Why does God command us to love him? How can you command someone to love you? That in itself is a very weird question. I don't know how to answer that one. Sorry.
Because we might forget that we're his kids.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Why does God command us to love him? Because we're going to love him anyway, so you might as well give us points for it.
It's very easy for us to just focus on our own needs and desires, and so he needed to command us to remember him and to cherish him.
I don't believe in God. That other question.
I guess if you believe that God is the source of love, then why not?
I think the objective of God's commandment to love him is to say that God is everything, then just love everything and everyone.
Somebody says, love me, love me. Like, you know, I'll pay you $10. Come and clap while I sing. You know, like, tell me how great I am. I'll pay you. You know, the point is that isn't it ridiculous for us to say to our children, eat your food. I'll pay you if you eat your food. I'll take you to a park. I'll make it nice for you. Eat your food. What can you do? The only way the kids will eat is if you promise them that they'll get a chocolate bar after lunch. Okay, so you give them the chocolate bar. Now, when he says, love me, why does he say love me? He doesn't need your love. But you want to know that life is gorgeous? You want to feel it? You got to love God. Otherwise, you don't know life is gorgeous. You'll never know it. If you know that there's a creator that loves us, and there's no strings attached. He created this world for your benefit, and everything that comes your way is to help you enjoy it. And he's only trying to urge you to enjoy it and to live with it. And you love that God, then you know how utterly, absolutely gorgeous this existence is. And more power to you. The Almighty will pay you for enjoying it.
God commands us to love him because it's a lot easier to listen to someone you love.
But loving God is really the first step towards any kind of real enlightenment. You have to realize that there's something much bigger than yourself, and that you're a part of it, but that the spiritual world is infinitely larger than the physical.
Because love is what runs the world, ultimately. That's what's really going to get things done. You can do things out of fear, you can do things out of hate, but love is the biggest driving force there.
For me, it's one of the most important laws. That's one of the most fundamental laws of Judaism, is to love. And it just gives you such a clearer outlook on life, and you'll, instead of all the haze and all the noise, you can block that out.
If you have any questions or any comments, anything at all, we're interested. Please